What's going on, everyone? Before we jump into this killer episode, we just came back from the Limitless conference and we are fired up. We're always fired up, but we're extra fired up. And we're just really excited to help more people and to fulfill our passion, our desire as coaches to help people live fitter, healthier, and happier lives. People just like you, because everyone deserves it. Everyone has the ability to do it, and we can guarantee you will get there through our coaching. We will be on your team to give you everything you need. You just need to go out and do it. And you know you have the best resources, the best nutritional advice, the perfect routine made for you, the knowledge, the know-how, unlimited questions, so you can see results once and for all. So if you're looking to do this and be limitless with what you can achieve in fitness and health, as well as your happiness, your self-development, go ahead and DM us on Instagram, the keyword Limitless, at Colossusfit. Our Instagram is at COLOSSUSFIT. When you search it up, you'll see a very similar display picture as our podcast artwork here. So it's nice and easy. Hit us in the DM, say Limitless. We'll know you're someone who wants to see more change, who's ready to become fitter, healthier, and happier. We look forward to seeing you there. Now into the episode. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I'm your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm on the mic.
And we just came back from Utah for the Limitless conference, and this conference was stacked. There were some huge names there. David Goggins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Andy Frisella. Who else am I missing?
We got Ed Milet. We had, we had so many amazing people. We had Brad Lee. We just had some of the most influential people just in terms of mindset, in terms of growth, in terms of just work ethic. And it's just an incredible episode. And we hope that this inspires you from that.
Yeah, and the theme of this was to become limitless. And I just think it's such an amazing vantage point because even the person, Keaton, who threw this together, he had never thrown a conference before, and he said one day, in 6 months, I'm going to throw a conference with 10,000 people there. I'm going to have the biggest speakers. It's going to be transformational. There's going to be no selling, no nonsense, just an incredible seminar. And everyone said, man, you're nuts. There's no chance. It takes way longer. Start small. And he said, no, I believe it. I'm going to see it. I'm going to do it. And it was just so powerful because he did it. And there was 7,000 people there, not 10,000, but that's still success. And that's why we always say you set big goals. And he believed he had no limits with what he could do. And we've gone to a lot of conferences. It was one of the best run conferences, one of the most motivational conferences we've been to. And there is just so much conviction with what everyone was saying. They really believe because these are people that became limitless. Look at a David Goggins. He was 300 pounds, spraying for cockroaches. Now he's touring the world, giving speeches. He's just like a motivational figure to a lot of the world. And like if you told him that, he'd laugh in your face. He'd say there's no chance. But he changed his mindset. And some of the other speakers, as we mentioned, just talked about reinventing yourself and realizing what you are indeed capable of. And we're just so excited to share these top 10 tips. And we promise you, these will help you become limitless, because even looking retroactively at where we were and where we've come and what we've developed too, these are the foundations of that. So you're going to leave this episode feeling ultra inspired. So let's go ahead, kick it off with number one.
So number one, and this was said by every one of the awesome speakers, we even got to meet Eric Thomas, who's someone that we've been listening to and I've just been so inspired by for the last 10 years. I forgot to say his name, so I had to add it in there. But every one of them said, you know what to do. Go do it. And I think it's just so powerful because very often, and they kept saying like everyone's looking for the next best thing, the next cheat code, the next shortcut, just something a little bit different. And when you do sit down and think of your situation with whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's building an online brand, whether it's achieving the best transformation ever, incredible relationships that you're striving for, like this can go a million different ways, but whatever it is, like I'm willing to bet you that majority of you know exactly what to do. You're just not doing it. And that's something that's so important to remember when you are looking for that next different workout plan that you think is going to be the most craziest thing that's just so different. Hey, you know what you should be doing. And I think it's just such an inspirational, simple line because I think a lot of people can relate to this. And you have to ask yourself, why am I not doing this? Why am I not showing up for myself when I know that I need to be doing this? And it's such a simple line that I think can mean a lot to some of you in one way or another.
This is a mantra. When you don't want to do something, say, okay. When you're looking at that menu and you see that really horrible, greasy option with cheesy fries and having a full sugar pop, all these things. And then you see that other option that's like farm chicken breast with rice and veggies. And you're like, okay, I need to hit my calories. I'm deep in a cut. You know what to do. Go do it. I got this big goal. I want to see this change. And once again, to our point too, for some people, it's like, hey, I know I want to have that fries and that burger. I'm going to eat healthy the rest of the day, 80-20, tracking that burger, do it guilt-free. But as you can see, you know what to do, go do it. You got to do one or the other. If you didn't plan for it, you got to make that game time decision to stay on your goals. But if you know what you're doing, you should be planning ahead, being on top of it. So this just goes for any point. You don't want to go to the gym. You know, if you don't go today, you're not going to go on the weekend. You know what to do, go do it. Just use this mantra, keep it in your day, and this goes past just the gym, past nutrition. This can go to your work, this can go to your family. Those hard moments, I think this is just amazing to keep stored in the back of your mind. So we had to kick it off with that. But into number 2, what I loved, and I forget who said this, I have it in my notes actually, but they said, train so hard, people think you're insane, become crazy. And what I love by this is, when I started working out, I was just excited. I was in high school. I just started trying to figure it out. I just did some chin-ups and abs, and I'm like, okay, that's all I need to do, chin-ups and abs. I'm going to look huge. I remember doing my first crunches, looking for my six-pack. It wasn't there. I remember doing chin-ups, expecting to have a built back. Wasn't there. And then I remember I'm like, okay, I got to get in the gym, but I don't want to have man boobs. So I didn't do any chest. I only did back, shoulders, and abs. That's all I did. And then I'm like, okay, this is silly. And I kind of started to learn and improve, but I just kept doing things, and I kept doing things and making it harder and harder and harder. And I remember I was playing hockey like 10 times a week. I was playing water polo. I was doing P90X at home. I was doing all these things. People are like, why are you working out so much? And I think I was really spinning my wheels and working harder than I needed to, but it kind of gave me that attitude and that mindset that like, I can do more and what I'm capable of. And then when I applied that energy to doing things intelligently and I started researching and stopping wasting time, it was amazing the results I've seen. And I wanted to mention this because there's a chance you're working really hard right now and you're seeing no results. And that's where having a coach is so, so instrumental. And if you want to be limitless, you can save yourself like 3 years of headache and wasted energy and wasted effort by having a coach who's going to make you a perfect routine, who's going to have a perfect plan for you, who's going to see around corners. So once again, I want to encourage you to send that keyword limitless to @Colossusfit so you can see that change. But even for me now, I've noticed too, I'm capable of even more than I think. And I train pretty hard. People be like, how do you do so much weight? How do you work out so hard? How are you so consistent? But even they asked David Goggins, how do you keep running on the days you don't want to? And he said every day he ran past the house, someone was in there sleeping or watching TV or whatever. And he said he was taking their soul and using it as fuel. And definitely an extreme example, but I think it's cool. Like if you have huge aspirations, like, and you don't want to be like everyone else, use that as fuel. Even me, like where people will be on their phone in between sets, take extra long rests, they'll do a set like no one's looking at them. Even lately, I've been saying every set I'm going to pretend someone's watching me, making sure I do everything exactly right. I'm at the right level of failure, contractions there, intensities there. Like just push what you think is normal and do what you're able to do. And like by doing this, it'll break you. It'll be a little bit hard, but this is how you become extraordinary. And if that's something you would want to do, which I think most people do, that's where you can really all of a sudden look back and people start saying, what the heck, how do you do this? So that just fired me up, and that was something I had to share.
Incredible. And I'm going to jump into number 3, which I love. And it's just, you have to reinvent yourself. You have to reinvent yourself every single day and live your future truth. And what I really noticed about each one of the speakers, they were so individual. They were just they came from such a different place, but each one of them lived a situation where they would make excuses, like majority of them, by the way, like made excuses, lived a life where they were maybe overweight, they were broke, like whatever it is. And they lived their future self. They transformed their mindset. They reinvented themselves. And I just think it's so inspiring, especially because I can think of like every single one of the stories between Ed Milet, David Goggins, just so many of those inspiring people where they're like, man, I started here and here's where I am. Like you can accomplish anything. And even we actually got to have lunch with Eric Thomas, and even just hearing him speak and how grateful he is, which is for like each person, because it's like, man, I used to be homeless. I used to be in this situation, and he just reinvented himself and now he's here. Even Andy Elliott, this one guy who you've probably seen online, like he's everywhere, but he set up until 39. He wasn't living his truth. He wasn't living with the life life that he wanted to, and he just made that change. He said, I'm going to reinvent myself. Let's go. And then now he's just inspiring a bunch of different people. So I think it's just awesome when you look at it from that perspective, because very often we're like, oh, well, these are the cards we were dealt. This is the life I live. Like, that's it. But it's so easy to make that transition if you start to just live within the lines that you wanted to live and reinvent yourself. And it's so powerful, and I hope that helps you.
Yeah, and even David Goggins spoke to that. Like, if you're someone who's like a timid, quiet, unconfident person, start telling yourself, I'm a confident person. Just keep saying it. Do the tasks you need to do to make yourself believe it. And you can actually shape yourself and remold yourself from some of those things you deem to be negative or your weaknesses. And I just thought it was so powerful. And even he said, if you're an introvert, like, get charged up, challenge yourself, and like really just get yourself out there, get comfortable doing more. And I thought that was just so cool. And that concept of like, wow, you could even be 39. This guy, no one's heard of him. He's a little controversial because he's a little bit intense, but I think that's part of his shtick, and I think that's kind of what's garnering his attention right now. But I think it's cool that he went from effectively being a no one in terms of social presence, awareness, to now doing some of these major events, to getting more notoriety, and really living true to what he believes his mission is. Whether that's the correct way to live or not is up to you, and it's up to him. But I think the passion and conviction there is so true. And if you're like, hey, I'm an unhealthy person, but I'm going to become healthy, like, put in that work, reinvent yourself, and become that healthy person. Like, every week on our Motivation Monday episode, we share someone who's reinvented themselves, who's become a new, healthier, happier version of themselves. And maybe we've even had people, their whole family has been overweight. Everyone around them's been overweight. Everyone's struggling from diabetes, heart disease, horrible things that are hindering their life, their ability, their confidence. And even they spoke, like, a bonus thing is, who's going to be the one in the family to make change? You take that lead, you take your fitness and health serious, you could encourage the rest of your family. You could save them pain. You could save them detriment. You could save your kids from having to pay your medical bills when you're older. And like, it's intense and it's hard to hear, but it's so true. Like, if you're serious about doing something, you got to reinvent yourself. You got to be true to that. And like, this was just like a really powerful thing. And even for me, like, at one point I said, I want to be fit, I want to be healthy. And that was kind of my story. Me and Kyle, we were just like in high school, just doing whatever. We were in university and we're like, hey, we want to get in the entrepreneurial field. I want to learn how to do this. I want to read books. I want to improve. I want to be able to help more people, and I need to train myself to do that. And we had to reinvent ourselves to that too. We were joking the other day because Kyle's ambition in life was to be a Zamboni driver, which is totally fine if that's what you want to be. But like, if Kyle just didn't reinvent himself to like try and grow and inspire and do all these things, I don't think he'd be very satisfied doing that, because Kyle's a very driven, hungry person. And because he put in that work, he's able to help thousands of people transform. He's had millions and millions of views on YouTube, millions of podcast listens. And like, even for you, you got to ask, what are you leaving on the table? So that just fired me up, and I had to share that there. Number 4, anything you want to add?
No, dude, I'm ready. Like, I'm fired up. This is good.
Let's get Kyle on a Zamboni for a special episode.
But like, I think the thing to really, like, you live within, I mean, number 5, which is what I'm going to jump into after. There's so many, we're capable of so much. Like, I'm having a hard time come up with words here, but like, I just think so often we are told what we need to do and what we should do, and like, we don't really think big. But it's amazing because I look back at my life, like when I was 17, 18, like if I told myself that I would be talking to you guys right now on a podcast, like doing whatever Josh just said, like the views, the listens, like I would tell myself I'm crazy. But it's amazing because all it takes is that one first step. Like when Josh said, hey, here's this one book, hey, film this one video, the most uncomfortable video I've ever filmed, like I would not be here without that. And all it takes is just that one attempt and that one try and that one vision, like, and it's just crazy because I'm so grateful for that. And I loved hearing each speaker, like how incredibly grateful they are. Eric Thomas, when he shook our hands and he's like, man, I'm so happy. Like, you guys are amazing. Like, it means the world. So I just wanted to share that before Josh jumped into his next thing here.
Incredibly well said. And we got a lot of passion because these events will fire you up. We try to go to them regularly, just like you guys tune in this podcast regularly. Like, it's a great way to inject motivation. And I think big think is such an important thing. If you're surrounded by people every day who are telling you you can't be fit. No one in our family's fit. Everyone in our family is just average like this. We all have blobby physiques. You're going to believe that, but you get something else. You listen to this podcast and we say, no, that's not true. You can do that. Like, so often we put those glass ceilings, and you really can break through them with the help of others. And even for us, listen to great minds who have done things that are like incomprehensible for us is just immensely powering. And that's why you want to make sure you're doing that. Keep tuning in this podcast, all that great stuff. Anyhow, we'll keep the episode going. Number 4 simply is be where your feet are. This one really hit me because if you're someone who kind of looks ahead, and we've spoken before about the power of presence, this is really big. Maybe you're in the gym, you're thinking, I got to shower after, I got to gel my hair, I use my car, I need gas. Like, you're really taking away from that present moment, and you're diluting the quality of everything in your life. Like, that concept of being where your feet are. If you're with your kids, be with your kids. There's no need to be on your phone on Instagram, like just scrolling, trying to jackpot for something that gives you dopamine. You're with your friends, be with your friends. You're with your family, be with your family. You're in the gym, take the family, or you're in the gym, crush it in the gym. You're filming a podcast, put that energy in the podcast, because if I'm half here, half somewhere else, I'm taken away from what I could really deliver. If you're half with your friends, half somewhere else, you're taking away from them. If you're half with yourself in the gym, half somewhere else, you're taking away from the quality of your workout. And like, just doing this will really, they were using it to be alert, but I just thought it was such a powerful, amazing example, and I really love that.
That one hit me hard, and honestly, number 5 was one of the most powerful ones as well. Just stop daydreaming, instead dream and take action. Life is the gap between B and D. Decide the life you want to live, and then say no to everything else. Don't feel bad aspiring to live a big life. So these are some notes that Josh wrote, and honestly, like I loved it because this was from the main speaker, especially the one who did put on the event and did something that no one thought possible. And even just what he was saying as well, and this really stuck out to me, was if I have a dream, I must create a vision. And if I have a vision, I must execute. So like, those 3 steps to me is everything, right? You have a dream, you have something you want to accomplish, something you want to do. That's the first step. You obviously have to have that vision, like how it's going to get done, maybe a bit of strategizing, all that stuff. And that's where most people stop. But that third step, which is the execution, the action, that's what separates everyone else from the one who, succeeds. And like, I have a very hard time because so often, like daydreaming, I've been there where you just say, I'm going to do something. I think I'm going to do this. I think it'd be a great idea. I try not to congratulate anyone or just give them credit until they actually do it, because I've heard over the years, like the amount of times I've heard someone say, hey, I think I'm going to get started on my fitness journey. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Let's see you do it. Like, enough talk, enough visualizing, enough thinking. Let's see you execute. And the same goes for just building some sort of business. Like, I've heard it a million times over. So it's just a good reminder, like, just enough of that daydreaming, like put it to use, put it to work. Dream, of course, it's amazing to dream big, think bigger, but you just need to take that action. You know what to do. Go do it, as tip number 1 was.
Awesome. And now into number 6, concept of every day collect wins. When you wake up, say, what wins am I going to collect today? I'm going to crush a workout. I'm going to eat an amazing breakfast. I'm going to make my bed. I'm going to brush my teeth. I'm going to smile at a stranger. I'm going to walk my dog. Just collect wins. Do little things. I'm going to start educating myself on something I want to do better on. I'm going to read a book, listen to a podcast, an audiobook. Life's really exciting when you think of collecting wins like that, and you think of how can I level up, be a better version of yourself, and really give yourself fulfillment and purpose and desire, and working towards things that are going to build you up as opposed to tear you down. So it's a simple one, but a powerful one.
And number 7, something very important as well, is the truth is a starting line. You have to tell yourself exactly who you are. You have to be honest with yourself. And to me, that's the starting point to getting to where you want to be. Like, if you're just living this life where you tell yourself a bunch of lies and you're just not being fully honest, it's very hard to just succeed and get to where you want to be because you're not being truthful. And I know David Goggins is huge on this, and it's inspiring to hear his story over and over again, which I've heard a million times, but him telling us that story where he wanted to be a Navy SEAL, he was 297 pounds, he was overweight, he was struggling. If he just lied to himself and said, oh, well, don't worry, like, you're in shape, like, it's all good, he would have never gotten to where he wanted to be. And I think this is something a lot of people struggle with, because those around us will encourage us. They'll tell us we're perfect the way we are. But the truth is, to accomplish something big and to just actually start to see change, like, we have to just be fully honest with ourselves. We have to look at ourselves in the mirror or in darkness. That was another thing here. I have a quote and it said, spend some time with yourself in the dark. No complaining, no lights, no mirrors, nothing. And I think it's honestly amazing, because you alone in the dark with no phone, with nothing around you, it allows you to fully be present with yourself and be honest with yourself and see exactly who you are. And it allows you to reflect and try to, come up with some change there. So yeah, that's number 7. And hopefully that helps.
Love it. And for number 8, we have be good at macro losing so you can macro win. This was from Gary Vaynerchuk. Just sounds like something he'd say if you're not familiar with him. If you are, you'll definitely know that it's something he'd say. But his concept was everyone is so scared to lose that they're actually hindering themselves from winning. Example of being comfortable with macro losing is trying to lose weight and failing. And you'll have to say, why did I fail? What can I adjust to improve? You won't lose weight if you don't try. So it's better you at least try and fail, learn and adapt and level up. Maybe go to the gym and you won't figure something out or you'll do it wrong. And that's failing, but that's giving you the capacity to improve and learn. Maybe you tried to grow your muscles and you didn't end up doing that. But once again, these little failures allow you to win big because you'll begin to adjust and adapt. I failed probably miserably when I only did back and abs. It was something, but it wasn't getting me to my goal. I also thought that if I drank a ton of water, I'd lose weight. This was way, way back, like when I was literally a kid trying to figure it out. But it's the thought, right? But by me doing these wrong things and realizing, okay, this is dumb. Why isn't this working? Doing research, improving, those macro fails allowed me to win. So you need to reframe the concept of failing being a horrible, embarrassing, shameful thing, and instead have that be a tool so you can win more and really succeed and push forward in your journey.
Incredible. And number 9 is just go one more. This was from Ed Milet, and to me, the whole principle is absolutely phenomenal. I think he actually wrote an entire little book on that, but it's just very inspiring because a lot of times we go one less, like one less set, one less exercise. We cut out on abs. We don't do the cardio like you do. You try to take shortcuts. Like we've all been there. Let's be honest with ourselves. I have as well. And it never feels great because subconsciously you start to do one less in every area of your life. Whereas Ed Milet's like, hey, I want to be the best. I want to be at the top. I want to have an unbreakable mindset. I want to be limitless. I'm going to go one more. And I just think it's such an amazing principle because the second that you start doing that subconsciously, once again, that means just without thought in all areas of your life, you're like, hey, I just did an extra set of abs at the gym. Whereas usually I take a shortcut. Lunchtime comes around. You're like, I'm going to make the better decision. I've already done this. So I want to make the right choice. I want to go one more. I want to get one extra great veggie. And when he said that, especially hearing him speak with such conviction, it's honestly powerful because like I have all these, like I can visualize and think of like him just talking to us. Even Josh said he's like, he was looking right at me when he was saying all this stuff, and it is very inspiring. And I hope you guys can take some things that we've learned here. We probably have about 50 other things we learned, but we don't want to overwhelm you. But yeah, that's number 9 is just go one more.
Number 10 is an actionable one. I think it's a fantastic way to end. And I'd really challenge you to take out your notepad if you're not driving or a piece of paper and do this. And that is to go and write your vision on paper. Put it down, make it real, make it so you can visualize it and see it. Paper, notebook, app, whatever you want. Go ahead, write it down. The second step of this is decide how you will spend your time trying to accomplish that vision. So what adjustments will you need to make? If you want to become jacked, you need to spend some time in the gym. You need to spend some time in the kitchen. You may have to do some research, or you can reach out to us. We'll tell you exactly what to do, help you see results 5 times faster. That is totally up to you. Number 3 is decide on your dream team. Who will help you and who will help you? And I love this example because it could be your parents. You could say, I'm trying to lose weight. Like if you can hold me accountable to it and encourage me and not tempt me with too many things. Like I'm overweight. This is something I know, something I want to improve. I want to be around for you guys. I want to be healthy. Can you help me with that? You're bringing those people on your team. You can do that with your friends. You can do that with your buddies. You could reach out to someone who you know is a gym rat who's going to take you under their wing and guide you. Say, hey, when are you working out? Do you mind if I come? I'm hungry to learn. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be present. It'd mean the world. That's someone on your team. Having a coach is on your team. Me and Kyle are eternally on your team. You tune in this podcast, you got us on your team. And it's hard to do something by yourself. When you have people around you, that's going to build you up. So we've written down that goal. We've thought about how we're going to do it. We have a team. Then last but not least, I want you to go ahead and decide on the date and time that you will make this reality. So instead of it just being a hypothetical, one day I'm going to do it, when are you going to do it? Exactly when, where, and how? And the truth is, as that old saying goes, when is the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. Next best time is today. So don't put that off. Just see how you can start stacking wins today, what you're going to do, what changes you're going to make, and you're going to find yourself becoming limitless and breaking through those glass ceilings and limits that you had previously. So We really hope this episode inspired you. These were our biggest 10 takeaways from our conference. That was just absolutely amazing. We spent thousands of dollars to go there, and we wanted to make sure to really break down the key takeaways so you all could have this, implement this in your life, and find more ways to become limitless.